Welcome back to the main events of Italian diplomatic activity abroad. On July 7th and 8th, the NATO summit was held in Ankara, Turkey. Speaking at the conclusion of the meeting, Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni reaffirmed Italy's position on increasing defense spending, stating that Italy will honor the alliance commitments, addressing relations with Donald Trump, which have been strained by the latest attack from the US president against Italy. Meloni defended the government's strategy, saying it is based on the unity of the West rather than on personal relationships.
È stato un confronto molto
It was a
positivo.
very positive meeting, now a standing start, but overall it was a positive, constructive climate of unity. As for the American troops, they used the moment we were not informed of any formal disengagement, after which, as you know, NATO talks about burden shifting. That is, we are talking about how the European allies, that is, the European columns of NATO, must take on greater responsibility within European territory to allow the American column to deploy in other quadrants which are today considered priorities.
Considerati prioritari.
Prime Minister Meloni was joined at the meeting of NATO heads of state and government by Foreign Minister Antonio Tajani and Defense Minister Guido Crosetto. Foreign Minister Tajani took part in the NATO Foreign Ministers meeting and, together with Polish Foreign Minister Radoslaw Sikorski, convened a meeting of the Foreign Minister of the E5 countries France, Germany, Italy, Poland and United Kingdom, along with representatives from Turkey and European Union. On support for Ukraine, Tajani stressed that a coordinated Euro-Atlantic approach remains essential to advancing proposals that could foster direct dialogue between Ukraine and Russia while ensuring the active involvement of both the United States and Europe. Tajani also briefed his NATO counterparts on an Italian security operation through which Italian intelligence services and the Carabinieri identified several Russian agents operating in Italy. Following the Foreign Minister's instruction, the next day, the Secretary General of the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Riccardo Guariglia, summoned the Russian ambassador to Italy, Alexei Paramonov, to convey the Italian government's strong protest over the illegal activities carried out by two members of the Russian embassy enjoying diplomatic status. He also informed the ambassadors of Italy's decision to expel the two officials from Italian territory. Also on the sidelines of the Ankara NATO summit, Tajani attended a meeting of NATO foreign ministers with partner countries of the Istanbul Cooperation Initiative, Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar and the United Arab Emirates, a meeting strongly advocated by Italy. Discussions focused on developments in the Gulf region, the regional security environment and opportunities to strengthen partnership between NATO and countries in the area. The Foreign Minister also highlighted Italy's continued support for Lebanon and the upcoming US-mediated negotiations between Lebanon and Israel, which Rome will host on July 15 and 16. Tajani thanked the Gulf countries for their contribution to the ongoing mediation efforts. On July 6, Foreign Minister Antonio Tajani met with the Secretary General of the Gulf Cooperation Council, GCC, Yassim al-Boudawi, to exchange views on the main regional crisis and on strengthening cooperation between Italy and the GCC member states. During the meeting, the two sides signed a memorandum of understanding establishing a structured mechanism of political consultations. Key areas of cooperation include maritime security, counter-terrorism, the protection of critical infrastructure, energy security, connectivity and the development of strategic corridors, including the India-Middle East-Europe Economic Corridor, IMEC. Deputy Foreign Minister Edmondo Cirielli spoke at the panel Science Between Diplomacy and Regional Development, Southern Italy as a Euro-Mediterranean hub, held on July 6 at the SparkMe Academy in Matera, where Italy's National Institute for Astrophysics, INAF, organized an interactive program dedicated to space observation. Space and science diplomacy are playing an increasingly important role in Italy's international outreach and in promoting its region abroad, Cirielli said. The government is working side by side with local authorities, businesses and the research community to support the internationalization of Italy's aerospace sector, he concluded. Italian writer Michele Mari won the 2026 Strega Prize, awarded on July 8 during the final ceremony held for the first time at Rome City Hall on Capitoline Hill. The Strega Prize is Italy's most prestigious literary award. For many years, the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, through its network of Italian cultural institutes, has supported the prize's international dimension. Of the 800 members of the jury, 245, nearly one-third of the total, are selected through the network of Italian cultural institutes abroad, according to criteria ensuring both geographical representation and rotation. Many of these jurors are prominent figures from the international publishing world, helping to promote Italian literature worldwide. And that's all for now. Thanks for your attention and stay tuned!